name's Matie. When I said yes to do this talk, I went out with these lovely people who are really shaking things up in this town, and was so honored that they invited me to talk about love. And we had this really nice lunch and talked about everything we could talk about. And what we settled on was that I'd give like a talk about self-care for entrepreneurs. That like maybe being an entrepreneur is really hard and that I would do that. And then I got broken up with. My partner and I have 6 years, ended our relationship. And if you've been through a breakup, it's a really special time. And it's really great when you're in that place to be like, I'm gonna go and talk about love to a room full of strangers, you know? I'm just gonna like do that. And at that point, it didn't feel right to talk about self-care for entrepreneurs. I wanted to take a big step back and say, let's talk about like the hard shit. Let's talk about how life really is and what do we do when it gets messy. And so I decided to just, like I'm doing with all my Facebook statuses these days, bring my vulnerability to the table. So, in terms of that, you might not want that. You know, like when someone's like, here's my heart. You might be like, no, lady, I just came for the coffee and the networking. So this is a really good chance to find your no. Like, mama's got big feelings, but they're not gonna get hurt. So if you're not up for like some trauma, some sex, some inappropriate self-disclosure, some humor, some swearing, like, this is a good time to find your no. To be like, you know, I want to go learn about coffee from the fine folks of Flying Star. Or like, you know, run away like you're about to poop your pants. I don't care. My feelings are not going to be hurt. We're cool. We're cool. We're good. So consent is important. You know, it's good if you're going to share your feelings or an orgasm with somebody to like really like make sure everybody's all on the same page. You know? So I feel like we're good, right? Can I like, so I'll take a deep breath. It's gotta be a bumpy ride. I wanted to tell you a little bit about my identities as well because I think they inform who I am. I am a white, cisgendered woman. I'm queer. I'm an entrepreneur. Somebody has to wake up now. I'm fat. I'm a lover. I'm a fighter. I'm privileged. I'm middle-aged. I'm an activist. I'm a lesbian. I'm a rabble-rouser, and I'm a survivor. I'm also working on being poly, and it's pretty fun. So Self-Serve is a woman-owned and run sex shop. We're in Albuquerque. If you haven't come to visit us, come when you're ready. We can help. And we're body-safe, non-toxic, feminist, community-minded. Hopefully we're a good place to work. I work really hard on that as part of it. And it's my heart and body. Like my business is my heart. And I get to share that with thousands of people every day, and it's pretty beautiful. And when I tell people what I do, the first thing they say is, oh my God, that must be so fun. That is like so fun. That must be so fun. That's so cool. That's so fun. And it's cool. Like I'm fun to have at a party, right? Like I'm like, yeah, it is. It's fun. I'll tell you. I'll sing for my supper. I'll tell you the story, you know, about the bachelorette party where they pop champagne all over the store and like, you know, the dildos raining from the sky. But Self-Serve didn't start because it was fun. Self-Serve started largely in part because I hated myself. I hated who I was. I hated my body. And a lot of people have that in their history. And I can relate to that when people come into the store. And I think it's important to talk about how sometimes we hate ourselves. Because we get all this pressure to like love ourselves all the time, all the time. You better love yourself. RuPaul's like, if you can't love yourself, then nobody can fucking love you. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but I feel like that's what RuPaul says. And sometimes you're like, I don't love myself. And I think it's important to recognize that like we all have that in us. You know, it's not a linear progression. And that's been my mantra the last few months. Healing is not linear. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about where I came from to hopefully, and give you an idea about where I've been, and also, you know, tell you some things I've learned about love from running a sex store for almost a decade, because it's a really unique slice of life. Ready for the trauma? Because it's a part of it. So, when I was 3, I was sexually assaulted by a family member. And nobody really knows what to do with that. And it's surprising to me that nobody knows what to do with that. Like, you might be in this audience right now being like, holy shit, she's talking about that. That was me. Because it's 1 in 3 women in New Mexico are sexually assaulted by a family member before they're the age of 18. And we don't talk about it. And when I was assaulted, And I was 3 years old, like a little tiny baby, right? Families don't know what to do. And so my family had a lot of trauma, and everybody felt bad. And nobody knew what to do with the family member that this happened with. And he had hurt little girls before me, and he hurt little girls after me. And my family didn't know how to deal with it, and it was hard. And carrying that in my little body growing up, I knew something was wrong, and I wanted to make sure that my family knew I was okay. And so I did what a lot of little girls do. I really tried to be perfect. And I was growing up in Southern California, and there's a lot of pressure to be perfect when you're a little person in that culture anyway, let alone a survivor of child sexual assault with a family that's like, we're okay, we're okay, we're okay, we're okay, we're okay. And I'm like, we're okay. You know, as like a 4-year-old, right? I'm like 7. I'm like, it's fine, we're perfect, we're good. So when I became an adolescent and like so a lot of these feelings came up, I did what a lot of young girls do. I just stopped eating. I tried to control my body. I tried to make my body be the kind of body that would fit in the places that were perfect. And the places that I was told were perfect were not in this fat body. You know, they were angular and skinny, and I tried all the things. And I tried, my first diet was when I was 11, and that was like normal. And everybody was like, oh, good for you, taking care of yourself. And if you live in this like fat negative culture, that's pretty common, like they don't care how you lose weight. When I was sickest, when I was the worst part of my eating disorder, when I was so sick, I could have died, When I was in that place, my doctors and family and everyone around me told me how good I was. And so I was trying to be perfect, and I was trying to be good, and they were telling me I was good, and I was dying inside. You can see lines on my nails from when I stopped eating. And it was really scary to like try to be a woman in our culture. I think it's really scary to be a person with a body in our culture. And finally, I sort of just got real gay. That helped a lot. My very first time, and I was like sexually promiscuous in high school, and like be nice to high school sluts, they're working their shit out. But then I like touched a girl's hand, and I was like, oh, that's what desire is. And it was the first time I actually felt present in my body. My body was taken from me when I was very little. My body was taken from me by starving myself. And so then I touched a girl's hand, and I was like, oh, that's what my body feels like. And so desire gave me my body back. And it was pretty fucking cool. And so I started having sex with women, and it was like, my whole world exploded, And then I had like, well, you'll have to read it in my memoir, but it was like a really complicated, messy first lesbian breakup. I don't know if you've read about these things or lived them, or cried on somebody's front lawn, but like, it happens. It happens. And so after my first big, bad, messy, oh my God, abusive breakup, I started having sex with lots and lots of people. And promiscuity gave me some insight into people's bodies that was amazing. The first time I felt beautiful, I was fucking a stranger. And she hated herself. She was like the super hot butch dyke in town, and like she picked me, and I was so lucky. And when she got naked, she started apologizing. She apologized for like hair on her nipples. She apologized for the little curve on her belly. She apologized for everything. And I was like, oh my God, baby, you're beautiful. And it was like this huge thing to be like, you're beautiful. It's obvious, duh. And then I realized like maybe I could stop hating myself. Maybe if I could offer compassion to a stranger, that like I could offer that same sort of compassion to myself. So it was like this huge like orgasmic, cathartic moment where like she's coming and I'm like revolution, We should stop hating ourselves. So a lot of things happen after that. Someday I'll tell you when we're older. But I lived hard and I loved hard, and eventually I ended up working in a feminist sex shop. And it was like a fun job. I'm gonna take a fun job so that I can be responsible, and I'm gonna go do pre-law in undergrad, and then I can take a fun job. And when I was working in a sex store, and it was like everything to me. It was like I found my calling. Every day I got to go in and talk to people about what they needed. And they were vulnerable, and they were real, and they were tender, and they were scared, and they were being honest with themselves. And it like blew my mind. And so, after a few bottles of wine, my friend Molly and I decided to start self-serve. And that's another long story. We'll talk about it later. But I ended up being able to actually live my dreams. And so every day, I get a super generous slice of life. Every day, I get people who come in and they pour out their hearts. And most of the time, it's not like, oh my God, it's so fun. Most of the time, it's people like working through their shit. And I think that that's something that is valid and important and important to recognize, because the thing that happens when they come in to work through their shit is they go, oh, I don't know if I can do this, I'm scared, I'm sorry. Like, just like that woman I was fucking. We all say we're sorry for just being ourselves. And I think we should stop. So, I'm going to share with you for the next few minutes some things I learned running a store. And I hope they help you. And if they don't, like, come in and visit me or visit us during the day. Maybe we can help you then. So, fear is not the enemy. About 20% of my time is spent with people being like, I'm so nervous, I'm going to do this thing for the first time, I'm so scared, is it going to be okay? How can I, like, pretend that it's, how can I, like, not let them know I'm nervous, right? Being nervous is awesome. I've been nervous about this for, like, 2 months. It's pretty exciting, right? I will never have this moment again. Being nervous is cool. Being nervous is real. Being nervous is being a feeling in your body. Being nervous is being present. So why do we run from it? Why do we hide from it? Because so I spend 20% of my time being like, it's okay to be nervous. The rest of my time, 80% of my time, is helping people figure out how to be nervous again. They're like, we've tried everything. How do I get this spark back? What should we try? Anal? I don't know, And we tried that, lady. What else? They're looking for like a thing to give them that feeling of being nervous again. So like when you have fear, own it, feel it, be present in it. It is a gift. It puts you in your body, and being in your body is a good thing. Lube is awesome. Just a lot of people think they don't need it. I think big picture in round love, get the tools you need and stop feeling guilty about it. Let's skip that one. Old people have really great sex. I learned that one too. My very first day at a sex store, a gentleman walked in with this walker. And I was like, oh sir, you're in the wrong place. Because I was like 24, nervous. And he's like, no. And he walks over to the butt plugs and he picks out the biggest one. He said, I'm wearing this right now. And do you have anything bigger? And it like blew my mind. And one of the things, and I was like, no, but I think we can special order it. I mean, it's my first day, but whatever you need. And it was like amazing because a lot of us, like if you look at like anything in mainstream culture, it's pretty like, oh, sexy people are this size and this shape, and they do this one thing. That's total bullshit. If you work in a sex shop for a day, you can learn that like actually what we like and what we desire has literally nothing to do with how we look. And the hot sex we have has literally nothing to do with our identities. It's fucking amazing. So, big picture, everybody can have really hot sex, and we can all have really bad sex too. And often we're the same people doing that. And that's good. That's normal. That's healthy. Holding things in doesn't help. Holding things in. A lot of people do that. I once had a year when I couldn't have an orgasm. A year. It was like research for the store. And I realized what I was doing was I was holding my breath. I got real up, and then I stopped breathing. And when you stop breathing, the blood flow and the energy stops flowing through your body. But people come in the store and they're holding things in. They're holding in their secrets, they're holding in their experiences, they're holding in their shame. And when I see them release it, it feels good. It feels good for me, it feels good for them. And if you're holding things in, it's okay to let them go. People do this with female ejaculate too. We do whole classes, you can talk, we can learn. But big picture, I think that an orgasm is a release of tension. So if you want to have a like totally safe to have it work orgasm, figure out a way to release some tension, and you'll have that release in your body. Letting go feels good. Body-based practices work. So we can talk and talk and talk. Like if you're like, I've done therapy, I'm a survivor, I've done therapy, and you're like, I'm still freaked out. A lot of that is because you are in your body, and your body needs to work too. So one of my favorite sex educators, Reed Mahalko, talks about how the vagal nerve is connected to your orgasmic potential and your ability to relax. Has anybody ever been with somebody that's like, relax, relax, why aren't you relaxed? Relax. And you're like, I'm not relaxed, I'm totally relaxed, it's totally cool, I'm relaxed. But you're like, fuck you, I'm not relaxed. I don't know how to relax. I've never relaxed in my whole body, I don't know, right? Maybe you've been there. I'm a pretty intense person, I have a hard time relaxing. So you can't yell at your body to relax, but you can trick it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a body-based practice together. We're gonna keep our pants on. We're just gonna breathe. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna breathe in for 4, and then we're gonna release sound, a deep belly breath sound, okay? Ready? Right, so if you're being chased or something scary is happening, you're not like, oh my God, I'm in trauma. You can't do that, right? So when you do that, we're gonna do it one more time. When you do that, your body physically relaxes. That's why we masturbate, that's why we like orgasms, that's why we like yoga, that's why we like body-based practices, because they center us in our bodies and they put us there. We get to be in our bodies when we are in our bodies, and sometimes we run away, and it's okay. But yelling at us to get back doesn't work. Some people find that during Tantra and kink as well. A lot of people are always apologizing. I literally had a woman at the store yesterday who apologized because she had cancer, and she wasn't able to fuck her husband right then. And she felt terrible about it. And I think maybe in like 5 years, when she survives this time, she's not gonna be like, you are a terrible person for not fucking your husband right then, right? Like, there's literally no way you could survive that experience and be like, I'm a monster for being in that place in my body, right? But she apologized. She apologized to me as if there was a problem with our body. Her body is a good body. Her body's just right. Her body needs some space. So I sold her a jerk-off sleeve, you know? And I was like, make out with your husband while you do this. Would that help, you know? And it gave her a moment of peace, and it gave her permission for her body to be okay. And I think that all bodies are good bodies deserving of love exactly as they are. And that's like a revolutionary idea, you know? People are constantly apologizing at the store that they're too old, or they're too fat, or they're not sexy enough, they don't like sex, or they do like sex. And I'm like, wherever you are in your body, maybe just be gentle with it and give it peace. And then love it, however it is. Now, if you can't love yourself anyway. Because that's the other thing. People are like, love yourself. And you're like, I'm working on it, lady. It's okay to actually say, like, I don't love myself right now. Right now I'm having a hard time, and just find a place of gentleness around it. And like, you're like, we came to the sex talk, and she's talking about feelings. It's very connected. Nobody cares about the size of your dick. That's something that's pretty cool, working in the sex store. We never have anybody come in who are like, oh my God, my partner's penis is too small. It's such a problem. Do you know what we have a problem with? People coming in feeling terrible about the size of their dicks. All the time. All the time. Now, the only time a dick is a problem, well, one, if it's pushy, but 2 would be if it's too big, you know? Sometimes bodies don't fit, and that's what we hear about. So just FYI, you know, all bodies are good bodies, but they don't always have to fit together. But lube can help. Let's see. Got about 1 minute of magic left. I want to make sure I share some good stuff. If there's a magic bullet, it doesn't vibrate. You know, people come in and they really, really want like a pill. Give me a pill. Do you have those bummer pills? You know, do you have a cream? Do you have something that'll help me feel desire? Communication with yourself is actually the premise. That's what you need. You need communication with yourself, and you need to be honest with yourself, and you need to be gentle with yourself, and you need to actually pay attention. I think attention is love embodied. We get people who come in all the time, and they're like, oh, I don't know, everything sucks, everything sucks, everything sucks. And those are actually the only people at the store I feel sorry for. Because that's their narrative. That's what their belief. That's what they're putting attention on. Everything sucks, my relationship's terrible, I gave up sex 20 years ago, I never want it again, I hate my body, I hate my partner, I hate my life. That's hard. I can't fix that. There's no magic bullet that I can be like, well, for $29.95, it doesn't work that way. But most of the time when people come in, they say, oh, I have this problem, I hate this thing, I hate this thing, I hate this thing, and I want to change it. And I think that like where we put our focus, where we put our energy truly matters. And most of the time, especially around sex, we think it's like this magical thing that should just happen at the end of the day when we're like, when it should be spontaneous and we should have multiple orgasms and it should be effortless. And that's not fucking real. Everything in your life that matters to you, like if you're like, I'm gonna go to Creative Mornings, you maybe like made a plan about it, you showed up, you like made time, you went to bed last night, you maybe got enough sleep. Maybe you didn't, but you like were like, it's a priority, so I'm here, right? Because it fucking mattered to show up. I think we should give sex as much attention as we give our agendas. And I think that we should give sex as much respect as we give everything else in our life. And then, tell your truth. Because you can like give attention, but like be totally lying to yourself. You can be lying to your partner. You can be lying to your own body. You can be like me when I was real young, trying to like be perfect and be like, maybe if I put my body in this shape, you'll love me, right? But if your truth is that you're hating yourself, it's probably going to be really hard for that attention to create an outcome that you want, you know? So, this is my creative morning. I think for me, being honest and being careful and being true is much more important than all the huge orgasms. You can come and talk to me, we can help you have huge orgasms. But the most incredible connections I've had with my body have often been after trauma, after a trigger, after something's gone terribly wrong. I think intimacy is really like the sexiest thing in the world. And having intimacy with yourself is where it starts. And so I hope this has been helpful for you today. If it hasn't, I hope you find something that is. And I just thank you for letting me share my truth with you.